What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and here's a little bit of a strange one. There's going to be 2 points in this video. One of them is more common and a bit more common sense that you've probably heard a little bit more about. The other one, which I'm going to talk about second, a bit further on into the video, I feel is the more important one. So just kind of stick around for that one because this is the key kind of one. So first off, as I'm sure you know, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon are out within a few days or a week, depending on where you live. So the thing about that is, beforehand, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon were completely leaked onto the internet. So if you had a soft modded 3DS, you could download the ROM of these carts and play them. And just as a complete anecdotal evidence version of it, I was at a convention in Dublin about a week and a half ago, and I was in the giant hall for the pub quiz at the convention, and I had out my 3DS. I was using my me Street Plaza because there was hundreds of people around me with 3DSs, so I could just get all their Mii's for Street Plaza. And I'd say maybe about a dozen people, well, if you're familiar with, if you are or aren't familiar with the Mii Plaza, when you're welcoming a Mii into your Mii Plaza, it tells you the last game the person's Mii was playing. So about a dozen people that I got, they were either last playing Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon. Now, it's not the demo because the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo has a different name and has a different icon. So these straight up had the Pokemon Moon and the icon, or Pokemon Sun and the icon. So that's a bit of anecdotal evidence for that as well. So if you're not familiar as well, real quick, I just want to touch on this one with how 3DS bans work. They basically ban the hardware, and you can't just transfer an account over easily onto a different one. You basically lose your licenses, your software licenses are basically hardware bound. Now, there are partial ways of doing it. If you're upgrading from a DS or 3DS to a new 3DS, there's a one-off way of doing that. But if you're going from, say, a new 3DS to a new 3DS, it's not going to work. If you're going from a 3DS to a 3DS, it's not going to work. There is one or two other ways around it. For example, I know from my time working in GameStop that you could actually, if a person needed to do that, Nintendo were willing to do it for you, but you had to send them both 3DSs and they would do that. So obviously if you send them a banned 3DS and a normal 3DS, they're going to say, hang on, this one was banned, we're not transferring that for you. Anyway, this will give you a bit of insight into this current point. So Nintendo, as you've probably seen over the last 24 hours, have dropped the ban hammer big time on people who have hacked 3DSs, hacked new 3DSs, and if you can hack a 2DS, probably. So people who have downloaded them, or people who have that custom firmware and have downloaded Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon and gone online with it, have been receiving hardware bans. And as you'd expect, these thousands of people all over the internet are complaining, blaming Nintendo, saying it's their right to download and pirate whatever they want. And these people have basically completely lost all online feature access. They can't visit the eShop, they can't use any of the online features in any of the games. So their 3DS is basically no longer online capable. Even if they want to legitimately go online onto the eShop and spend some money, they can't do that anymore. So that's what effectively happens to all of them. And as you'd expect, as I said a second ago, you know, they're all blaming Nintendo. It's like, oh, it's my right, I should be able to do all this. Why the fuck are they banning me? Blah blah blah. So I'm not even really going to comment on that too much. It seems to be a blanket ban. Anyone who has gone online with it at all. There's people who have reported being online for maybe 10 or 30 minutes and getting the ban just to test the game out, or so they allegedly say. And there's people who have been online for 100 hours who have got the same ban. So yeah, I mean, I don't blame Nintendo. Completely understand why they did it. And for those people who are out there crying and whinging about their 3DS being banned, I mean, you knew exactly what you were doing. You signed or you read that terms of service. You violated the terms of service. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Now, that leads me to the next point I want to talk about. And this is the more interesting one. Now, this one cannot be 100% confirmed or verified for the simple reason is there. If you look around on many of the forums or many of the boards or whatever, you'll find a couple of incidents of this. I say a couple. I've probably seen like 100, give or take, at this point. So, but the problem is they're all individuals. You know, we haven't found it out from, say, anyone who's from like a major review publication or anything like that. But allegedly, what's happening is some people who have received legitimate copies of Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon from online retailers, or some stores have even broken street dates and have actually started physically selling their physical copies of Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Apparently, people who have got legitimate copies are being banned for playing online. Now, I think that's a bit more dodgy. When I say a bit more dodgy, I mean a bit more dodgy from Nintendo's side, because Nintendo are known for their stubbornness and their ham-fistedness, and everything is just black and white. So these people who have legitimate copies, there are people who have posted pictures of banned 3DSs with a legit physical copy of either Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon beside their 3DS. Now, it's unconfirmed if that 3DS was also hacked. We can't verify that stuff. But these people who have paid retail or online retail prices for legitimate copies of their game, got them legitimately, and now are getting their hardware banned. And as I said, with Nintendo's ham-fisted approach and their totalitarian approach to this, Nintendo will most likely not reverse these bans, even the quote legitimate unquote ones, for the simple reason is they're Nintendo, and they don't usually they're like, fuck off, buy another 3DS or something to that effect. So these people are in a very precarious situation. I will say this: if you have a legitimate copy of Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon, it's recommended that you do not go online with it until official release date in wherever your location is. For the simple reason is you risk an illegitimate ban. But, Nintendo being Nintendo, they probably would not reverse that ban. So I think that one is very, very dodgy, if you ask me. Nintendo are literally just blanket banning everyone who have gone online with it. So I think that's a very bad approach, because some of these people would have legitimate copies, and you're essentially rendering their 3DS basically useless. I say basically, you know what I mean. But, for doing nothing wrong. So, what's going to happen there? Because that's going to leave, I know personally, if I got a copy of a game early, from Amazon or be it from wherever, and I went online with it, because, as you would, you'd want to try out some of the online features. Pokemon has some decent ones as well, especially like things like Wonder Trade and all that. And if that had permanently banned my 3DS, I probably wouldn't buy another fucking Nintendo console, just because it's wrong, and it's that simple. So, I think that's bullshit, and they're going to piss off a lot of people. And if it does turn out to be the case that people who have legitimate copies are getting illegitimately banned, there's going to be a massive amount of negative press about this. And Nintendo being Nintendo probably won't do anything about it. They'll probably try to spin it or blame other people or sweep it under the rug. Or because it's Nintendo, they'll probably just say nothing at all because they love Stonewall and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo, but you can't deny, look at the Switch before release. Fucking stonewalled until 6 months before release. So, yeah, it's a really weird situation. Let me know in the comment section below your opinions on it. Be it the people who have hacked copies, the people who have legitimate copies, but who have still potentially been banned. Or what you think Nintendo's approach, or how you think their heavy-handedness in this is. Is it right? Is it wrong? What's the deal? You let me know. Hit all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter. Details in the description below. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel. Which, unfortunately, I will not have my copy of Pokemon until a week after release. Because I stupidly ordered at the same time as the limited edition Pokemon 3DS. So, the 3DS ships a week after the game. And they're all going to be in the same order. Fucking lovely.